My name is Dr. Elena Rodriguez, and I'm 24 years old. I never anticipated standing on that graduation stage, calculating the precise moment when my parents' carefully engineered family resource allocation strategy would undergo complete structural failure. But there I was, watching their composure disintegrate as decades of systematic underinvestment in one daughter, while optimizing the other's trajectory, created an outcome they hadn't factored into their equations. Before I reveal the engineering breakthrough that recalibrated our entire family's operational framework, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and hit that like button if you've ever been the family member whose technical competencies were systematically devalued, while watching inferior performance metrics receive premium resource optimization. Because what happened that day wasn't just personal vindication. It was a comprehensive demonstration of how flawed assessment methodologies can produce catastrophically incorrect strategic outcomes. The foundational infrastructure of our suburban Denver household operated on a clearly defined hierarchy that any systems engineer could have mapped with precision. My sister Carmen occupied the primary node in our parents' resource allocation matrix, while I functioned as auxiliary support infrastructure, necessary for basic operations but not prioritized for advanced development investment. This wasn't accidental design. This was systematic engineering of differential outcome expectations based on what my parents believed were accurate capability assessments of their two daughters. Carmen, 18 months older than me, had been designated as the high-performance component in our family system from the earliest operational phases. Her academic processing capabilities, social interface protocols, and extracurricular achievement metrics consistently triggered positive feedback loops that resulted in expanded resource allocation and enhanced development opportunities. My performance data, while objectively superior in several key technical areas, was consistently interpreted through a filter that classified my achievements as products of excessive effort rather than indicators of superior analytical capability. The pattern recognition was unavoidable for someone trained in systematic analysis. Consider the educational infrastructure investment protocols that defined our formative development period. Carmen's academic optimization pathway received enterprise-level support specifications, private tutoring consultants, comprehensive standardized testing preparation, advanced placement coursework with supplementary instruction, and systematic extracurricular portfolio development designed to maximize institutional acceptance probability. My educational development trajectory, conversely, followed standard configuration parameters with minimal enhancement features. When I demonstrated exceptional analytical capability in mathematics and sciences, the response protocol was acknowledgement followed by immediate return to baseline operations focused on Carmen's continued advancement. The resource allocation disparity became particularly evident during our middle school years, when both daughters showed interest in advanced STEM programming. The local engineering academy offered summer-intensive programs in robotics and environmental systems design, but enrollment costs exceeded $2,000 per participant. Carmen expressed casual interest in the robotics component, primarily because her best friend Madison was planning to attend. I had been researching environmental engineering methodologies independently for 8 months, and had specific technical questions about water purification systems that the program could address. The decision matrix my parents employed was revealing in its systematic bias. Carmen's robotics interest aligns with her leadership development goals. My father announced during the family resource planning meeting that determined summer activity allocations. The program will enhance her college application portfolio and provide networking opportunities with other high-achieving students. Elena's environmental focus is admirable, my mother added, but the program seems quite technical and intensive. Perhaps something more well-rounded would be better for her development. Technical and intensive. Characteristics that should have indicated suitability for someone demonstrating advanced analytical capabilities, not reasons for exclusion from optimal development opportunities. Carmen attended while my parents invested premium resources in my college preparation pathway received basic configuration support, standard guidance counselor meetings, library borrowed test preparation materials, and parental advice to focus on realistic options that won't create financial strain. Realistic options. Engineering terminology for accepting suboptimal outcomes based on artificially constrained input parameters. The assumption underlying this differential investment strategy was that Carmen's conventional academic performance indicated higher probability of prestigious institutional acceptance and subsequent career success, while my technical focus suggested limitation to more practical, less ambitious educational pathways. But my parents' assessment methodology contained fundamental flaws that any competent systems analyst could have identified. Carmen's academic performance, while consistent, showed no indicators of innovative thinking or advanced problem-solving capability. Her strengths lay in optimization of existing protocols, rather than development of novel solutions. Her standardized testing scores, despite extensive preparation investment, remained in the 85th percentile range, solid but unremarkable. My academic metrics, achieved with minimal resource investment, consistently exceeded Carmen's across all technical disciplines. More significantly, my independent research projects demonstrated innovative thinking and practical application capabilities that practicing engineers in our community had begun to notice. During my junior year, I developed a cost-effective water filtration methodology for removing heavy metal contamination from residential water supplies. The project originated from discovering concerning lead levels in our own neighborhood's municipal water system during a chemistry class analysis. Instead of simply documenting the problem for academic credit, I designed a filtration system using locally available materials that could reduce contamination to EPA-safe levels at a fraction of the cost of commercial alternatives. The methodology required advanced understanding of chemical engineering principles, materials science, and hydraulic systems design. The prototype I built in our garage using equipment purchased with my part-time job earnings demonstrated effectiveness comparable to filtration systems costing thousands of dollars to implement. When I presented the results at our regional science fair, 3 different environmental consulting firms approached me about potential commercial applications. Dr. Sarah Kim, a water quality specialist with Morrison Environmental Consulting, became particularly interested in my work. After reviewing my testing protocols and efficiency calculations, she offered something unprecedented: a technical consulting position with her firm, working on actual client projects while completing my senior year. "Elena," she explained during our meeting at Morrison's offices, "your filtration methodology demonstrates graduate-level analytical thinking. The cost-benefit optimization you've achieved addresses real-world problems that our professional engineers struggle with. We'd like to incorporate your approach into our municipal consulting projects." Graduate-level analytical thinking. Professional validation that my family's assessment protocols had never generated. The consulting position at Morrison provided more than just professional experience. It offered systematic validation of technical competencies that my parents had consistently undervalued, while investing premium resources in developing Carmen's conventional academic portfolio. Working with practicing environmental engineers, I discovered that my independent research methodologies were not only valid but often superior to standard industry approaches. The water filtration system I developed was eventually implemented in 12 communities across Colorado, producing documented cost savings exceeding $200,000 annually. But my parents' reaction to this professional recognition was telling in its systematic minimization. "It's wonderful that Elena has found something she enjoys," my mother commented when I explained the consulting opportunity, "though we hope it won't interfere with her regular schoolwork or college preparation." Interfere with college preparation. As if real-world professional engineering experience was somehow less valuable than the theoretical portfolio optimization Carmen was receiving through her expensive college preparation protocols. The contrast became even more pronounced during our senior year, when college application season dominated family operational priorities. Carmen's application process was managed like a military campaign. Strategic target identification, comprehensive application optimization, and systematic follow-up protocols designed to maximize acceptance probability. My parents researched 12 institutions for Carmen, arranged campus visits to 8 universities, and invested in professional application coaching to ensure optimal presentation of her conventional academic achievements. The total resource allocation for Carmen's college placement optimization exceeded $25,000. My college application process received standard support protocols, guidance counselor meetings, encouragement to be realistic about financial constraints, and suggestions to focus on in-state institutions with predictable tuition costs. Elena's technical interests are admirable, my father explained during one of their college planning sessions, apparently forgetting I was present in the kitchen. But engineering programs are extremely competitive and expensive. She should focus on achievable goals at affordable institutions. Achievable goals. The systematic limitation of expectations based on fundamentally flawed capability assessments. Carmen's eventual acceptance to University of Colorado Boulder's journalism program was celebrated as a family triumph, despite CU Boulder being a solid but unremarkable institution for someone who had received such extensive preparation investment. The total cost of Carmen's education, including tuition, housing, and living expenses, would approach $160,000 over 4 years. When I inquired about similar financial support for my engineering studies, the response revealed the true depth of my parents' differential investment strategy. Carmen's education represents our primary financial commitment, my father explained with the systematic precision he applied to his accounting practice. We've been saving for her college costs since she was born, and we've structured our finances around this priority. Elena's always been more independent and resourceful, my mother added, as if 18 years of being overlooked had somehow developed natural self-sufficiency capabilities. She'll find a way to make her education work through scholarships and financial aid. The implication was clear. Carmen deserved premium investment because her conventional success pathway aligned with my parents' understanding of valuable achievement, while my technical competencies were viewed as interesting hobbies that shouldn't require serious financial commitment. But this assessment contained a critical error that would become evident through systematic analysis of actual performance outcomes. Carmen's journalism program at CU Boulder, while respectable, provided no guarantee of career success in an increasingly competitive media landscape. Her academic performance, despite years of optimization investment, remained solidly average within her program. Her post-graduation employment prospects were uncertain at best. My environmental engineering focus, supported by professional consulting experience and documented innovation in water treatment technologies, positioned me for immediate entry into a high-demand technical field with substantial growth potential and starting salaries that would justify educational investment within 3 years of graduation. Yet my parents' resource allocation strategy continued to prioritize Carmen's conventional pathway, while treating my technical achievements as secondary considerations that didn't warrant equivalent investment. The systematic irrationality of this approach became my motivation for developing an independent strategy that would demonstrate the catastrophic error in their assessment methodology. If they couldn't recognize the value of investing in proven technical innovation, I would create a case study that made their miscalculation impossible to ignore. The development of this strategy required application of the same systematic analytical methodology I used in my environmental engineering projects: comprehensive research, strategic planning, and precise execution designed to achieve optimal outcomes despite constrained input resources. What my parents didn't understand was that their systematic underinvestment in my capabilities had actually created ideal conditions for developing the independence, resourcefulness, and innovative thinking that would prove far more valuable than the conventional preparation protocols they'd purchased for Carmen. Their flawed assessment methodology was about to undergo comprehensive recalibration through empirical demonstration of actual performance capabilities. The data they'd overlooked for 18 years was about to be presented in a format they couldn't dismiss or minimize. The graduation ceremony that would serve as the venue for this revelation was still months away, but the systematic preparation for proving their assessment errors had already begun. And unlike Carmen's college preparation, which required massive resource investment to achieve conventional outcomes, my strategy would demonstrate that superior analytical capability combined with strategic planning could produce results that their premium investment approach couldn't match. The only question remaining was whether their family operational framework could withstand the structural stress of discovering how comprehensively they'd miscalculated the true performance potential of their daughters. The systematic documentation of this miscalculation was about to begin. The systematic development of my independent strategy began during the summer before my senior year, when most of my peers were focused on standardized test preparation and conventional college application optimization. While Carmen attended expensive leadership camps designed to enhance her conventional academic portfolio, I was implementing a comprehensive professional development protocol that would demonstrate capabilities my parents had systematically failed to recognize. The consulting position with Morrison Environmental had evolved beyond simple technical support into genuine engineering project management. Dr. Kim had assigned me to lead the water quality assessment for 3 municipal clients, recognizing that my innovative filtration methodology could address contamination challenges that traditional approaches had failed to resolve effectively. Elena, Kim explained during our project planning session, your cost-effectiveness optimization strategies are exactly what these communities need. Municipal budgets can't support traditional remediation systems, but your approach makes comprehensive water treatment financially viable. The first implementation was in Woodland Creek, a small mountain community whose water supply had been compromised by abandoned mining operations. Heavy metal contamination exceeded EPA safety standards by factors that made traditional treatment prohibitively expensive for a community of only 800 residents. My filtration system design required adapting my original methodology to handle higher contamination volumes while maintaining cost-effectiveness. The engineering challenge involved optimizing flow rates, filtration media selection, and maintenance protocols to ensure reliable long-term operation within the community's limited technical support capabilities. The project timeline compressed my entire summer into intensive technical development work. While Carmen was networking at leadership conferences, I was conducting hydraulic modeling, chemical compatibility testing, and system integration protocols that would determine whether my innovations could scale from prototype to municipal infrastructure. The results exceeded even my optimized projections. The Woodland Creek implementation reduced heavy metal contamination to 15% below EPA maximum allowable levels, while operating at 63% lower costs than comparable commercial systems. More significantly, the modular design I developed allowed rapid deployment with minimal specialized technical expertise required for installation and maintenance. The success metrics were undeniable. Documented cost savings of $240,000 compared to traditional approaches, installation timeline reduced from 6 months to 3 weeks, and performance reliability that exceeded industry standards for municipal water treatment systems. Dr. Kim's reaction was immediate and strategically significant. Elena, this isn't just innovative engineering. This is paradigm-shifting infrastructure development. We need to document this methodology for professional publication and patent application. Patent application. Intellectual property protection for innovations developed by someone my parents considered less capable than her conventionally successful sister. The second municipal implementation, in Pine Valley, presented different technical challenges that required further innovation in my system design. Agricultural runoff had created nitrogen compound contamination that demanded additional filtration stages, while maintaining the cost-effectiveness that made my approach viable for small communities. Solving this problem required advanced understanding of biochemical engineering principles that most undergraduate programs don't cover until junior year coursework. I spent weeks researching peer-reviewed literature, consulting with university professors, and conducting experimental protocols to optimize biofiltration integration with my existing heavy metal removal methodology. The solution I developed incorporated engineered wetland principles with mechanical filtration systems, creating a hybrid approach that addressed multiple contamination vectors simultaneously. The technical complexity required precise pH balancing, bacterial culture optimization, and hydraulic flow management that demanded systems-level thinking about environmental chemistry. Dear Patricia Santos, the water quality specialist who reviewed my Pine Valley design, provided professional validation that surpassed anything my parents had ever acknowledged about my capabilities. Elena, she said after examining my technical documentation, your integrated approach demonstrates graduate-level understanding of environmental engineering principles. The innovation you've achieved typically requires teams of specialized engineers working with substantial research budgets. Graduate-level understanding, teams of specialized engineers, professional recognition that quantified my technical competencies in terms my parents couldn't dismiss or minimize. The Pine Valley implementation produced even more impressive performance metrics: 94% reduction in nitrogen contamination, 87% cost savings compared to conventional treatment approaches, and operational efficiency that required only 2 hours of maintenance per week for a system serving 1,500 residents. These measurable outcomes attracted attention from environmental engineering professionals throughout the Rocky Mountain region. Dr. Santos recommended my work to colleagues at Colorado State University's Environmental Engineering Department, leading to an invitation that would fundamentally recalibrate my educational trajectory. Professor Michael Chun, who directed CSU's Water Resources Research Institute, contacted me directly after reviewing my Pine Valley technical reports. Elena, he said during our phone consultation, your integrated treatment approach addresses problems we've been researching for 3 years with limited success. Would you be interested in presenting your methodology at our annual Water Resources Symposium? The Water Resources Symposium represented the premier professional conference for environmental engineers across the western United States. Graduate students and practicing professionals competed for presentation opportunities that could establish career trajectories and professional reputations. Being invited to present as a high school student was unprecedented in the symposium's 15-year history. The presentation preparation required developing professional quality technical documentation that could withstand peer review from the most accomplished environmental engineers in the region. I spent 4 weeks creating detailed engineering drawings, cost-benefit analyses, performance data visualization, and implementation protocols that demonstrated both theoretical understanding and practical application capabilities. The symposium presentation was scheduled for October 15th, during my senior year while college application deadlines dominated most students' attention. My parents assumed I was focusing on realistic in-state university applications, completely unaware that I was preparing to address an audience of PhD-level environmental engineers about innovations they hadn't achieved with substantially greater resources. Dr. Kim accompanied me to the symposium, both as professional mentor and to provide credibility for my presentation to an audience that had never encountered a high school student in their technical sessions. Elena, she said as we reviewed my presentation materials the night before, tomorrow you're not representing just your own work. You're demonstrating that innovative thinking can emerge from unexpected sources when systematic analysis is applied to real-world problems. The presentation went beyond anything I had imagined when I first started researching water treatment methodologies in our garage. Standing before 200 environmental engineering professionals, I delivered a 30-minute technical analysis of my integrated treatment approach, including detailed cost-effectiveness calculations, scalability projections, and implementation strategies for communities facing similar contamination challenges. The questions that followed revealed the depth of professional interest in my methodology. Dr. Jennifer Liu from Denver Water Authority asked about adaptation potential for larger municipal systems. Professor Ahmed Hassan from Colorado School of Mines inquired about patent protection strategies. Maria Gonzalez from the Environmental Protection Agency requested technical documentation for potential federal implementation guidelines. But the response that would prove most strategically significant came from Dr. Robert Kim, Director of the Environmental Engineering Graduate Program at Stanford University. "Elena," he said after my presentation, "your integrated approach represents exactly the kind of innovative thinking we're looking for in our graduate program. Have you considered applying for our accelerated master's pathway?" Stanford University, the premier environmental engineering program in the country, expressing direct interest in someone my parents considered suitable only for realistic educational options. Dr. Robert Kim's business card included his direct contact information and a handwritten note. "Please contact me about our Presidential Scholars Program. Your work demonstrates exceptional potential for advanced research." The Presidential Scholars Program at Stanford provided full funding for undergraduate and graduate studies, plus research stipends and guaranteed placement in doctoral programs for students demonstrating extraordinary innovation in environmental engineering solutions. I had never heard of this program because it wasn't advertised through conventional college preparation channels. Selection was based entirely on demonstrated technical innovation and professional recognition, rather than standardized testing scores or conventional academic metrics. That evening, I researched the Presidential Scholars Program using the Symposium Hotel's internet connection, while Dr. Kim celebrated my presentation success with colleagues in the lobby. The program selected only 8 students nationally each year, providing comprehensive financial support and research opportunities that far exceeded anything conventional scholarships could offer. The application requirements were unlike anything in traditional college admissions. Original research documentation, peer review by practicing professionals, comprehensive project proposals with measurable implementation potential, and professional recommendations from recognized experts in environmental engineering. I already possess 4 of the 5 required components through my consulting work with Morrison Environmental. The missing element was a comprehensive research proposal that demonstrated long-term innovation potential beyond my current municipal water treatment projects. Developing this proposal became my focus throughout the remainder of senior year, while maintaining the appearance of pursuing conventional college applications to satisfy my parents' expectations. I needed to identify an environmental engineering challenge that could support 5 years of coordinated research while producing measurable real-world impact. The opportunity emerged through my continued consulting work when Dr. Kim assigned me to assess contamination problems affecting the Colorado River Basin. Agricultural, industrial, and municipal pollution had created complex contamination scenarios that traditional treatment approaches couldn't address cost-effectively at the scale required for regional impact. My analysis revealed that comprehensive Colorado River remediation would require integrated treatment systems capable of addressing multiple contamination sources simultaneously, while operating within the economic constraints of the numerous small communities dependent on river water supplies. This challenge perfectly aligned with my proven methodology, while scaling the complexity to levels that could support graduate-level research. The technical requirements included advanced water chemistry, hydraulic engineering, ecological systems integration, and economic optimization across multiple jurisdictions with varying regulatory requirements. The research proposal I developed outlined a systematic approach to Colorado River contamination that could serve as a model for large-scale environmental remediation projects worldwide. The projected outcomes included patent-able technologies, peer-reviewed publications, and measurable environmental impact, affecting millions of residents across 7 states. The proposal timeline integrated undergraduate coursework with ongoing research, leading to accelerated master's degree completion and transition into doctoral research focused on international water treatment challenges. The total program duration was optimized for maximum technical development, while ensuring completion within the Presidential Scholars Funding Framework. Submitting the Stanford application felt like deploying a precision-engineered system, designed for optimal performance under highly competitive conditions. Every component had been systematically developed, tested, and validated through professional consultation and real-world implementation. The application deadline was January 15th, during the middle of conventional college application season, when my parents were encouraging me to focus on affordable, realistic options that wouldn't create financial complications for family budget management. I submitted the Stanford Presidential Scholars application electronically at 11:47 p.m. on January 14th, using the public library's internet connection to avoid any possibility of family discovery before the optimal revelation timing. Then I waited for results while maintaining normal operational protocols in my family environment, where Carmen's conventional college preparation continued to consume most available attention and resources. The notification timeline indicated decisions would be announced in March, approximately 8 weeks before graduation. During that waiting period, I continued my consulting work with Morrison Environmental, while completing my senior year coursework and maintaining the appearance of focusing on in-state university options. The irony of the situation was mathematically precise. While my parents worried about my ability to succeed at realistic educational institutions, I was potentially heading to Stanford University on a full scholarship that would provide comprehensive funding for 5 years of advanced environmental engineering research. But the most significant development was still emerging through my continued professional work. The success of my municipal implementations had attracted attention from environmental engineering firms throughout the western United States, leading to consulting opportunities that were generating revenues substantially exceeding my total anticipated educational expenses. Morrison Environmental had restructured my position from part-time consultant to technical project manager, with compensation packages that reflected my documented value-added contributions to their client services. Dr. Kim had also initiated discussions about creating a specialized division focused on cost-effective municipal environmental solutions, with my innovations serving as the core technological foundation. "Elena," she explained during our quarterly review meeting, "your work has positioned Morrison as the leading firm for small community environmental solutions. We're receiving client inquiries from across the country based on the reputation your innovations have generated. Leading firm, national reputation, professional recognition that quantified my technical contributions in terms that couldn't be dismissed as teenage hobby activities." March was approaching rapidly, bringing with it the Stanford notification that would either validate my independent strategy or require recalibration of my educational optimization protocols. But regardless of the Stanford outcome, my consulting work had already demonstrated capabilities that far exceeded anything my parents had imagined possible for their realistic, practical daughter. The systematic preparation for graduation day revelation was nearly complete. The only remaining variable was whether my parents' family operational framework could withstand the structural stress of discovering how comprehensively they had miscalculated the true performance potential of their daughters. The empirical data supporting this recalibration was about to be presented in a format that would make their assessment errors impossible to ignore or minimize. The question was no longer whether I had achieved outcomes that exceeded their investment in Carmen's conventional preparation. The question was whether they could process the magnitude of their systematic miscalculation without complete operational failure of their family hierarchy assumptions. The answer would be revealed at graduation, when 18 years of flawed assessment methodology would undergo comprehensive recalibration through direct comparison of actual performance outcomes achieved by their two daughters. The timing optimization was perfect. The data presentation was irrefutable. The systematic demonstration of their strategic errors was about to commence. March 15th arrived with atmospheric conditions optimal for the systematic recalibration of 18 years of flawed family assessment protocols. I was conducting final water quality testing at the Pine Valley implementation site when my phone indicated an incoming message from Stanford University's Environmental Engineering Department. My first operational instinct was to continue the technical analysis I was conducting, maintaining professional priorities despite the potential significance of the notification. But Dr. Kim, who was reviewing contamination reduction data with me, noticed the momentary distraction in my analytical focus. "Important communication?" she inquired. "Recognized the Stanford identification on my phone display. Potentially transformational," I replied, explaining the Presidential Scholars Program application I had submitted months earlier. "Elena," Dr. Kim said, setting down her technical documentation, "the Stanford Presidential Scholars Program represents the pinnacle of environmental engineering educational opportunities. Access that notification immediately." With systematic precision, I opened the message while maintaining professional composure despite the significance of the potential outcome. "Congratulations, Dr. Rodriguez. You have been selected as a Stanford Presidential Scholar, representing the most exceptional environmental engineering innovation demonstrated by any applicant in the program's 12-year history." The notification continued with comprehensive specifications about funding levels, research opportunities, and accelerated pathway protocols, but I required several moments to process the magnitude of what had been communicated. Dr. Kim was reading the message simultaneously, and her professional reaction was immediate and strategically significant. "Elena, do you comprehend the implications of this achievement? You are one of 8 students nationwide selected for this program. 8 applicants from thousands of submissions, representing the most accomplished environmental engineering students in the country." The funding specifications were comprehensive beyond anything my parents had allocated for Carmen's conventional educational pathway. Full tuition coverage for undergraduate and graduate studies, research stipends totaling $60,000 annually, doctoral program guarantees, and professional development resources approaching $400,000 across the complete program duration. But the strategic value transcended financial considerations. The program provided direct access to Stanford's Environmental Engineering Research Institute, mentorship from internationally recognized faculty, and guaranteed placement opportunities with premier consulting firms upon completion. "Your parents must be extraordinarily proud, Dr. Kim commented, echoing assumptions that had become familiar refrains from professional colleagues, who couldn't imagine family systems that failed to recognize such exceptional achievements. This recurring assumption highlighted the complex strategic challenge I was managing. My parents remained completely unaware of the Stanford application, the consulting work that had generated professional recognition, or the technical innovations that practicing engineers throughout the region had validated as paradigm-shifting infrastructure development. Their operational focus continued prioritizing Carmen's conventional academic pathway, while treating my environmental engineering work as interesting hobby activities that didn't warrant serious recognition or investment consideration. The systematic irony was mathematically precise. While they worried about my ability to afford realistic educational options, I had secured comprehensive funding for what represented the most prestigious environmental engineering program in the world. But the strategic optimization wasn't complete. 3 days after receiving the Stanford notification, our high school principal requested a meeting to discuss special recognition protocols for graduation ceremony procedures. Principal Martinez was holding additional documentation that would amplify the impact of graduation day beyond my initial calculations. "Elena," she began, consulting official correspondence, "I've received confirmation of extraordinary recognition that will be announced during our graduation ceremony. Your environmental engineering research has been selected for the Innovation Excellence Award by the American Society of Environmental Engineers." I maintained professional composure while processing this unexpected additional achievement recognition. This award identifies the single most significant environmental engineering innovation demonstrated by any high school student nationwide. Your integrated water treatment methodology has been designated for expedited patent processing and commercial development evaluation. The Innovation Excellence Award included a $75,000 research grant, guaranteed professional mentorship through the Society's Career Development Program, and publication of my methodology in Environmental Engineering Today, the premier professional journal read by every practicing engineer in the field. Additionally, Principal Martinez continued, "Your research will serve as the featured case study in next month's issue of National Geographic's Environmental Innovation Series, highlighting breakthrough technologies for sustainable infrastructure development." National Geographic, global publication platform that would disseminate my innovations to international audiences of environmental professionals and policymakers. "Your parents must be incredibly proud," Principal Martinez said, perpetuating the assumption pattern that my professional colleagues had established. The recurring presumption that my parents possessed awareness of these achievements underscored the complex family dynamics I was navigating while maintaining operational security around my independent professional development. Graduation day arrived with environmental conditions optimal for the systematic demonstration of comprehensive assessment error correction. The ceremony was scheduled at our university stadium, with families arranged in designated sections according to alphabetical surname organization. I had implemented strategic preparation protocols throughout the preceding week, including professional wardrobe optimization and presentation materials organization, while maintaining normal family interaction patterns that wouldn't indicate the magnitude of revelations scheduled for public announcement. My parents and Carmen had assumed conventional graduation ceremony expectations: standard diploma presentation, brief recognition of academic achievements, and family celebration focused on Carmen's upcoming college transition to CU Boulder's journalism program. They had no operational framework for processing the professional recognition that was about to recalibrate their understanding of their daughter's comparative capabilities and achievement potential. The ceremony followed standard protocols through diploma presentation procedures, with graduating students receiving individual recognition, while families provided appropriate celebration responses. I observed my parents during these conventional segments, noting their polite attention levels and apparent satisfaction with predictable ceremony progression. Principal Martinez returned to the podium after completion of diploma distribution, her demeanor indicating that significant additional announcements were forthcoming. Before concluding today's ceremony, I have the honor of recognizing several exceptional achievements that bring distinction to our graduating class and our educational community. The audience attention metrics increased measurably, with conversation ceasing and focus directing toward the announcement platform. First, I am pleased to announce that Elena Rodriguez has been awarded the Stanford Presidential Scholarship for Environmental Engineering, one of the most prestigious academic honors available to high school graduates nationwide. The crowd response was immediate and enthusiastic, but I maintained focus on the specific stadium section where my family was seated, calculating their real-time processing of information that fundamentally contradicted their operational assumptions about my educational trajectory. My parents' facial expressions underwent rapid transformation sequences. Initial confusion, followed by comprehension attempts, evolving into something approaching systemic shock. Carmen was staring at me with an expression I couldn't immediately categorize, though it appeared to combine surprise with possible recognition of achievement significance. Principal Martinez continued with additional specifications that amplified the revelation impact. Elena is one of only 8 students nationally to receive this honor, which provides comprehensive funding for undergraduate and graduate environmental engineering studies at Stanford University, plus advanced research opportunities at the most sophisticated environmental engineering facilities in the world. The applause intensified, but my analytical focus remained on my family's continued processing of data that required complete recalibration of their assessment methodologies regarding their daughter's comparative capabilities. Additionally, Principal Martinez announced, Elena has been selected as this year's recipient of the Innovation Excellence Award from the American Society of Environmental Engineers, recognizing her groundbreaking research in sustainable water treatment technologies. The stadium environment had achieved complete attention focus, with audience members recognizing that unprecedented recognition was being announced rather than conventional graduation acknowledgments. Elena's innovative water treatment methodology has been implemented in multiple communities across Colorado, producing documented cost savings. Finally, Principal Martinez concluded, Elena's research innovations will be featured in next month's National Geographic Environmental Technology Series, and her work has been selected for commercial development through partnerships with major environmental consulting firms. Commercial development. Revenue generation potential from intellectual property I had developed independently, while my parents invested premium resources in Carmen's conventional academic preparation. The standing ovation that followed represented more than polite graduation ceremony appreciation. It was professional recognition of documented innovation that had achieved real-world implementation and measurable community impact. As I returned to my seat among the graduating students, I observed my family's continued processing of information that had systematically demolished their operational assumptions about my capabilities, educational prospects, and professional potential. The contrast with Carmen's recent college acceptance was mathematically stark. Where Carmen's journalism program at CU Boulder represented successful navigation of conventional academic pathways supported by substantial family investment, my achievements represented innovation recognition at national levels, accomplished through independent initiative with minimal resource allocation. Following ceremony conclusion, families gathered in designated areas for celebration and photography protocols. I approached my parents with systematic preparation for the most comprehensive family communication session in our household's operational history. The expression analysis I conducted revealed processing difficulties as they attempted to reconcile new performance data with 18 years of established assessment frameworks regarding their daughter's comparative capabilities. My mother approached first, her typical expression of polite pride replaced by something approaching genuine amazement combined with calculation confusion. Elena, she began, then paused as if uncertainty about how to process the new information had disrupted her normal communication protocols. We had no awareness of any of these achievements or applications. The Stanford Presidential Scholars Program requires independent initiative, I replied, employing the professional communication methodology that had become standard through my consulting work. The selection criteria don't accommodate external family involvement in the application or research development processes. My father, whose engineering background should have prepared him to understand the significance of what had been announced, appeared to be struggling with systematic recalibration of his assessment frameworks. The Stanford Presidential Scholarship, he said slowly, processing the information with visible calculation difficulty. That's more prestigious than any conventional college acceptance. The selection methodology evaluates documented innovation with measurable real-world impact, I confirmed. Traditional college admissions assess academic potential based on standardized metrics, while the Presidential Scholars Program requires demonstration of professional-level technical contribution. Carmen, who had remained silent during this initial exchange, finally contributed to the communication session. Elena, she said, and her voice carried emotional complexity I couldn't immediately categorize. Why didn't you inform the family about any of these achievements or applications? The question required careful response optimization to maintain productive family communication, while addressing the systematic underinvestment patterns that had shaped my independent development strategy. The research and application development required 18 months of systematic work, I explained. The technical complexity demanded complete focus without external variables that might compromise optimal outcome achievement. What I didn't communicate directly was that their established pattern of minimizing my achievements while maximizing Carmen's conventional successes had created an operational environment where sharing ambitious objectives felt counterproductive to successful implementation. But the consulting work with environmental engineering firms, my mother said, clearly attempting to process all the new capability data simultaneously. You've been working with professional engineers? Morrison Environmental Consulting has been implementing my water treatment innovations for municipal clients across the region, I confirmed. The methodology I developed has enhanced their technical service offerings for communities facing contamination challenges that traditional approaches couldn't address cost-effectively. My father, whose own engineering career had never included the level of innovation recognition I was describing, looked like he was conducting comprehensive recalculation of everything he had assumed about my technical competencies. The patent applications, he said, for water treatment systems you designed? Intellectual property protection is being processed through Morrison's legal department, I explained. Market analysis indicates commercial viability for municipal and industrial applications, with licensing agreements already generating revenue that exceeds my anticipated educational expenses. Commercial viability. Revenue generation from intellectual property developed independently, while they invested substantial resources in Carmen's conventional college preparation, without comparable return potential. Carmen was observing me with an expression suggesting she was encountering her sister for the first time. Elena, she said quietly, I've been at CU Boulder for a year, and I've never encountered anyone accomplishing anything comparable to what you've achieved. The comparison wasn't intentionally competitive, but it highlighted the fundamental difference between following established pathways to conventional academic achievement and creating innovative solutions that professional engineers recognized as paradigm-shifting infrastructure development. CU Boulder's journalism program provides excellent educational infrastructure, I acknowledged diplomatically. My environmental engineering focus required immediate real-world application to address current community challenges that couldn't wait for traditional academic timeline progression. We remained in that stadium parking area while other families celebrated their graduates, our conversation representing the most comprehensive recalibration of family operational assumptions in our household's 18-year history. The drive home was notably different from previous family communication sessions. Instead of Carmen's achievements dominating conversation focus, my parents were conducting systematic inquiry about my research work, consulting relationships, and professional development plans they had never bothered to investigate previously. The Stanford Presidential Scholars Program, my mother asked. What specific provisions does it include? I provided comprehensive explanation of the funding structure, complete educational costs through graduate school, research stipends, advanced laboratory access, faculty mentorship from internationally recognized environmental engineering experts, and guaranteed career placement assistance through Stanford's professional network. It represents a direct pathway to leadership positions in environmental engineering, I concluded. Program alumni include department directors at major consulting firms, university research administrators, and policy advisors for federal environmental agencies. My father, processing this information through his own engineering background, finally achieved comprehension of the achievement magnitude. Elena, he said, and his voice carried recognition I had never heard before. What you've accomplished represents exceptional innovation and professional validation. The level of technical contribution and industry recognition. I've been practicing engineering for 28 years, and I've never achieved comparable professional impact. The acknowledgement was meaningful, but it also highlighted the systematic underestimation that had characterized family assessment protocols throughout my development period. That evening, we conducted the most honest family communication session in our household's operational history, addressing achievement recognition, resource allocation decisions, and the systematic assessment errors that had shaped our different educational development trajectories. We failed in our assessment methodology, my mother said directly. We assumed Carmen's conventional academic success indicated higher achievement potential, and we allocated family resources accordingly without recognizing your exceptional technical capabilities. The pattern recognition was evident from early childhood, I replied, maintaining professional communication protocols. Resource optimization consistently prioritized Carmen's development pathway, while treating my achievements as secondary considerations that didn't warrant equivalent investment. Carmen, who had been processing the systematic analysis of our family operational framework, finally contributed her own perspective assessment. I always recognized that you possessed superior technical capability, she admitted. When you assisted me with calculus and physics coursework, you demonstrated understanding of concepts that required extensive study for me to achieve basic comprehension. But family communication patterns consistently emphasized my conventional achievements, so I never questioned the established narrative. The conversation continued throughout the evening, addressing years of miscommunication, systematic undervaluation, and resource allocation decisions that had been based on incomplete performance data, rather than comprehensive capability assessment. But this wasn't simply about correcting historical strategic errors. It represented establishment of new operational protocols for family communication based on accurate achievement recognition, rather than inherited assumptions about comparative potential. Moving forward, I said, I would prefer family communication to include systematic recognition of everyone's actual capabilities and achievements, rather than maintaining artificial hierarchies based on outdated assessment methodologies. My parents agreed to implement these new communication frameworks, acknowledging that their resource allocation strategies had been based on flawed analysis, rather than comprehensive data evaluation. The systematic demonstration of their strategic miscalculation was complete. 18 years of differential investment in systematic underestimation had been recalibrated through empirical presentation of actual performance outcomes that exceeded their most optimistic projections for either daughter. But the most significant challenge remained: implementing sustainable changes to family operational protocols that would prevent recurrence of systematic assessment errors, while supporting optimal development outcomes for all family members. The complexity of this family systems engineering project would require the same systematic analytical methodology I had applied to municipal water treatment challenges: comprehensive problem analysis, strategic solution development, and measured implementation with ongoing performance monitoring. The initial data presentation phase was complete. The systematic recalibration process was about to begin. The systematic implementation of new family operational protocols required the same methodical approach I had applied to municipal water treatment challenges: comprehensive assessment of existing dysfunctional systems, strategic development of improved frameworks, and measured deployment with ongoing performance monitoring to ensure sustainable outcomes. 2 weeks after graduation, when the immediate celebration protocols had concluded and normal family routines resumed, I initiated a comprehensive family systems analysis to determine optimal strategies for long-term relationship sustainability. This wasn't emotional processing but engineering problem-solving applied to interpersonal dynamics that had operated on flawed assumptions for 18 years. The first strategic challenge involved recalibrating my parents' resource allocation methodology to prevent recurrence of systematic assessment errors with future family decisions. Their historical pattern of differential investment, based on perceived conventional success potential, needed fundamental restructuring to support optimal outcomes for all family members. Dr. Kim, who had become both professional mentor and strategic advisor during this family transition period, provided crucial external perspective on the relationship engineering challenges I was managing. "Elena," she observed during one of our project planning sessions at Morrison Environmental, "family systems often resist change even when presented with irrefutable evidence of operational inefficiency. Your parents have invested 18 years in a particular assessment framework. Systematic recalibration will require patience and sustained strategic implementation." Strategic implementation. Professional methodology applied to personal relationship optimization. The family communication session I scheduled for the following Sunday represented the first formal attempt to establish new operational protocols based on empirical performance data rather than inherited assumptions about comparative capabilities. "I want to discuss systematic improvements to our family resource allocation and recognition methodologies," I announced, employing the professional language that had become natural through my consulting work. "Recent evidence indicates that our previous assessment frameworks contained significant analytical errors that prevented optimal development outcomes." My parents exchanged glances that suggested they were still processing the magnitude of capability miscalculation that graduation day had revealed. "Elena," my father said carefully, "we recognize that we made serious errors in evaluating your potential and providing appropriate support. How do you suggest we improve our approach?" The question indicated readiness for systematic change, which was encouraging from an implementation standpoint. Family resource allocation decisions should be based on documented performance metrics and demonstrated capability, rather than assumptions about conventional success pathways, I replied. Additionally, achievement recognition protocols should provide equivalent validation for different types of excellence, rather than prioritizing only conventional academic accomplishments. Carmen, who had been processing her own role in perpetuating family dysfunction through accepting unearned preferential treatment, contributed to the strategic planning discussion. "I need to acknowledge that I benefited from systematic favoritism that wasn't based on superior performance," she said. "Elena consistently demonstrated higher technical capability, but I accepted the family narrative that I was the naturally gifted daughter without questioning whether that assessment was accurate." Her recognition of complicity in the dysfunctional system represented significant progress toward family operational improvement. "Moving forward," I continued, "I propose implementing communication protocols that include systematic recognition of everyone's actual achievements and capabilities, rather than maintaining artificial hierarchies based on outdated performance assumptions." My mother nodded with apparent sincerity. "We want to do better. But Elena, you'll need to help us understand how to recognize and support the kind of innovative work you've been doing. We clearly missed the significance of your environmental engineering projects." The admission of systematic blindness was meaningful, but it also highlighted the educational challenge involved in training family members to recognize technical innovation when they lack professional expertise to assess engineering accomplishments. This led to my next strategic initiative, developing family education protocols that would enable appropriate recognition of technical achievements without requiring advanced engineering knowledge. I created a monthly family presentation series where I would explain my current consulting projects, research developments, and professional achievements using accessible language that emphasized real-world impact and measurable outcomes, rather than technical specifications. The first presentation covered my expanded work with Morrison Environmental, including the regional water treatment implementations and the commercial development of my filtration technologies. I used visual aids, cost-benefit analyses, and community impact data to demonstrate professional value creation in terms my parents could understand and appreciate. Your water treatment systems have saved these communities over $600,000 while improving health outcomes for 12,000 residents, my father said after reviewing my impact documentation. That's not hobby work, Elena. That's significant engineering contribution. Significant engineering contribution. Professional recognition that validated my technical capabilities in language that transcended family relationship dynamics. The presentation served dual purposes: educating my family about engineering innovation, while establishing new communication patterns that included systematic recognition of my professional development. Carmen began attending these sessions regularly, developing genuine interest in environmental engineering challenges and my solution methodologies. I'm starting to understand why your work is so impressive, she said after my presentation on Colorado River Basin contamination analysis. You're not just solving academic problems, but addressing real infrastructure challenges that affect thousands of people. Her growing comprehension of my technical work created opportunities for authentic sisterly relationship development based on mutual respect, rather than artificial family hierarchy maintenance. But the most significant change involved my parents' approach to resource allocation and support provision. When I mentioned needing additional analytical equipment for my Stanford research preparation, they immediately offered financial assistance without the qualification conditions that had characterized previous family investment decisions. What equipment do you need and how can we help you acquire it? My mother asked directly, representing a fundamental shift from their historical pattern of questioning whether my technical interests warranted investment. The Stanford transition itself became a family project for the first time in my educational experience. Both parents took time off work to accompany me to California for orientation sessions, asked informed questions about my research plans, and expressed genuine enthusiasm about my academic and professional prospects. The contrast with Carmen's college preparation was notable but no longer painful. Where her CU Boulder transition had received family attention because she was the favored daughter, my Stanford preparation received support because my achievements had demonstrated clear value and potential for continued excellence. More importantly, Carmen's college experience was improving as family dynamics shifted toward more balanced recognition patterns. Without the pressure of being the only acknowledged high achiever, she began exploring her own authentic interests rather than maintaining the academic performance expected of the family's designated success story. I'm changing my major to environmental journalism, she announced during one of our family dinners. I want to write about environmental policy and technical innovations. Elena's work has shown me how important these issues are, and I think I could contribute through public education and policy communication. Environmental journalism, a field that would allow her to develop her genuine communication strengths, while connecting with my technical expertise in mutually supportive, rather than competitive ways. The career convergence wasn't coincidental. Carmen had spent months observing my presentations about water treatment innovations and municipal environmental challenges, developing authentic interest in environmental issues that combined her communication abilities with technical understanding she was acquiring through our improved family interactions. 6 months after graduation, our family operational framework had achieved significant optimization compared to its previous dysfunctional configuration. But the most meaningful change involved my parents' approach to discussing their daughters with extended family and community members. Where previous family narratives had focused exclusively on Carmen's conventional academic achievements while minimizing my technical work, they now shared information about both daughters' accomplishments with appropriate recognition of different types of excellence. Elena's environmental engineering research is being implemented in communities throughout Colorado. I overheard my father explaining to our neighbor Mr. Peterson. She's developed water treatment technologies that are saving municipalities hundreds of thousands of dollars while improving public health outcomes. Carmen's switching to environmental journalism to focus on policy communication, my mother added. She wants to help the public understand technical innovations like Elena's research, balanced recognition, mutual support, family communication patterns that acknowledge different types of valuable contribution rather than maintaining artificial hierarchies. The professional integration aspect of my development continued expanding as my Stanford program began. The research opportunities available through the Presidential Scholars Program exceeded even my optimized projections, providing access to laboratory facilities, faculty mentorship, and collaborative projects that were accelerating my technical development beyond anything possible through independent study. Dr. Patricia Chun, my faculty advisor at Stanford, had assigned me to a research team working on industrial contamination remediation challenges, similar to the municipal projects I had completed through Morrison Environmental. But the scale and complexity of Stanford's resources allowed investigation of problems that required advanced materials science, biochemical engineering, and systems integration that wouldn't be possible through consulting work alone. Elena de Chun explained during our first research planning session, "Your experience with real-world implementation gives you practical perspective that most students lack. We want to leverage your proven innovation capability while expanding your technical knowledge through advanced theoretical frameworks." The combination of practical consulting experience with advanced academic research was producing innovations that exceeded what either approach could achieve independently. My first Stanford research project involved developing cost-effective treatment methodologies for industrial pharmaceutical contamination, building on my municipal water treatment experience, while incorporating advanced chemical engineering principles I was learning through graduate-level coursework. The project timeline included collaboration with environmental consulting firms throughout California, providing opportunities to expand my professional network while conducting research that would contribute to my doctoral dissertation and potentially generate additional patent applications. But the most satisfying development involved collaborative opportunities with Carmen, whose environmental journalism focus was creating natural partnership potential for communicating technical innovations to broader audiences. "I want to write about your Stanford research for my journalism portfolio," she said during one of my weekend visits home. "Environmental technology communication is exactly what I want to specialize in, and your work provides perfect case studies for explaining complex engineering solutions in accessible language." Collaborative partnership between sisters whose relationship had been defined by artificial competition for 18 years represented the most meaningful outcome of our family systems optimization project. Carmen's articles about my research, published in CU Boulder's Journalism Review and subsequently picked up by regional environmental publications, demonstrated professional quality science communication that enhanced public understanding of environmental engineering innovations while advancing her own career development. The articles serve dual purposes: educating general audiences about technical solutions to environmental challenges, while establishing Carmen's reputation as a skilled science communicator capable of translating complex engineering concepts into compelling narratives. 1 year after graduation, our family had achieved systematic recalibration that supported optimal development outcomes for both daughters while maintaining sustainable relationship dynamics based on mutual respect rather than favoritism patterns. But the most significant validation came through professional recognition that extended beyond individual achievements to family system transformation. When Morrison Environmental nominated our family for the Colorado Environmental Leadership Award, recognizing families that had contributed to environmental innovation and public education, the nomination citation specifically mentioned the collaborative relationship between my technical innovations and Carmen's science communication work. The Rodriguez family demonstrates how environmental progress emerges through collaboration between technical innovation and public education. The citation read, "Elena's engineering contributions and Carmen's communication expertise represent complementary skills that enhance environmental policy understanding and implementation." Family collaboration. professional recognition that validated our systematic approach to relationship optimization and mutual support development. The award ceremony provided an opportunity for public demonstration of how much our family dynamics had improved. Both parents spoke knowledgeably about our respective professional developments, expressing appropriate pride in different types of achievement without comparative evaluation or preferential recognition patterns. Elena's engineering work addresses critical infrastructure challenges while Carmen's journalism helps communities understand and support environmental solutions, my father explained to the audience. We're proud of both daughters for finding ways to contribute to environmental progress through their different but complementary skills. Different but complementary. Recognition that various types of excellence could coexist and mutually reinforce, rather than competing for limited family attention and support. 2 years after graduation, I was completing my accelerated master's degree at Stanford, while maintaining consulting relationships with environmental firms throughout the Western United States. My research had generated 3 additional patent applications, and the commercial licensing of my innovations was producing revenue that exceeded my educational expenses by substantial margins. Carmen had graduated from CU Boulder with honors in environmental journalism and secured a position with Environmental Science Today, a national publication focused on technical innovation communication. Her articles about water treatment technologies, environmental policy implementation, and sustainability innovations had established her as a respected science communicator, whose work was enhancing public understanding of environmental engineering solutions. More significantly, our family had developed sustainable operational protocols that prevented recurrence of systematic assessment errors, while supporting continued professional development for both daughters. The monthly family presentations had evolved into collaborative planning sessions where we coordinated our professional activities to maximize mutual support and shared impact. Elena's research on industrial contamination provides excellent material for policy articles, Carmen would note during our planning discussions. And my journalism contacts can help publicize the community impact of your innovations. Strategic coordination. Professional collaboration that enhanced both of our career development, while strengthening family relationships through shared commitment to environmental progress. But the most meaningful change involved my parents' approach to discussing family achievements with their professional colleagues and community members. Where previous conversations had focused exclusively on Carmen's conventional academic progress while minimizing my technical work, they now shared information about both daughters' professional accomplishments with genuine pride and accurate understanding of our respective contributions. Elena's water treatment innovations are being implemented internationally now, my father explained to his engineering colleagues. Her Stanford research is producing solutions for industrial contamination challenges that could affect millions of people. Carmen's environmental journalism is helping policymakers understand technical solutions, my mother added. Her articles translate complex engineering concepts into language that non-technical readers can understand and support. International implementation, policy communication, professional achievements that had transformed family communication patterns from competitive comparison to collaborative celebration. The systematic family engineering project I had initiated 3 years earlier had achieved sustainable optimization outcomes that supported continued professional development, while maintaining healthy relationship dynamics based on mutual respect and accurate capability recognition. Most importantly, the changes had proven durable under stress testing. When Carmen faced career challenges during her job search after graduation, family support protocols operated effectively without reverting to previous favoritism patterns. When I encountered research difficulties during my Stanford program, family communication remained supportive without comparative evaluation or capability questioning. The family operational framework we had developed through systematic analysis and strategic implementation had achieved stability, while maintaining flexibility for continued optimization as our professional lives evolved. Looking back on the graduation day revelation that had initiated this comprehensive family recalibration, I could calculate the precise return on investment for my independent strategy development. The systematic documentation of my achievements and strategic presentation of capability evidence had produced optimal outcomes that exceeded my most ambitious projections. But the most valuable result wasn't professional recognition or educational opportunity. It was the development of authentic family relationships based on accurate assessment of everyone's capabilities and collaborative support for different types of excellence. The engineering methodology I had applied to municipal water treatment challenges had proven equally effective for family systems optimization, systematic problem analysis, strategic solution development, and measured implementation with ongoing performance monitoring. Family relationships, like environmental engineering projects, required sustained attention and systematic improvement protocols to achieve optimal outcomes. But with appropriate analytical methodology and strategic implementation, even deeply dysfunctional systems could be recalibrated for sustainable success. The lesson extends beyond individual family dynamics to broader recognition of how systematic underestimation can prevent optimal development outcomes in any organizational context. Whether in families, educational institutions, or professional environments, accurate capability assessment and equitable resource allocation are essential for achieving system-wide excellence. If you're the family member whose technical competencies have been systematically undervalued, remember that external professional validation can provide the evidence necessary for family recalibration while supporting your independent development trajectory. If you're the parent making resource allocation decisions, consider that optimal outcomes require accurate assessment of everyone's actual capabilities, rather than assumptions based on conventional success indicators. And if you're the sibling who has received preferential treatment, recognize that supporting everyone's authentic achievements strengthens the entire family system, rather than diminishing your own success. Hit that like button if this systematic analysis of family dynamics optimization resonated with your experience. Share your own stories about technical innovation recognition or family relationship recalibration in the comments below. Subscribe for more content about applying professional engineering methodology to complex personal relationship challenges and achieving sustainable outcomes through systematic problem-solving approaches. Thanks for following this comprehensive case study in family systems engineering and environmental innovation achievement. Remember, systematic analysis and strategic implementation can optimize any relationship framework, whether municipal infrastructure or family dynamics. The data is conclusive. Accurate assessment and equitable support produce superior outcomes for all system components. The methodology is transferable to any optimization challenge requiring sustainable performance improvement. Apply these principles systematically and measure the results. The empirical evidence will validate the approach.